You're not engaged, am I correct?
Yes.
Are you busy tonight?
Yes.
You say yes?
Yes.
Tomorrow night?
Yes.
You said yes 4 times in a row. You realize that?
Yes.
Apparently, the answer is still no. Bill Eddy, that's you, huh?
Yes.
I don't care how many times you say yes. Bill, are you married?
No.
Engaged?
No.
If you found the right girl, would you like to get married?
Yes, I think I would.
Can you support a wife, sir?
Well, reasonably well.
You're walking on quicksand, Bill. Where do you work?
I work for the Bank of America in Glendale, Maine office.
Oh, you work at the Bank of America, and congratulations. This is better than striking oil.
Say now about them at $2, which you owe me.
Listen, Pam, I'm gonna pay them $2, but I can't pay it now. I'll pay it tomorrow.
That's what you said.
But now listen, Pam, ain't we been dust long, long time?
Yes, we is.
And ain't we been sticking together through thick and thin?
Yeah, that's just the reason I'm gonna send out on you. You got too sick for me.
Man, I'm gonna pay you tomorrow.
That's what you said. Take your tomorrow and give me today.
Man, I'm gonna pay you tomorrow.
Or your tomorrow is too far away.
Just one day.
At every dawning, I've been waiting in vain. I find each morning brings only rain.
You mean to say that I'm a cloud?
How can I borrow tomorrow today?
You have to borrow, I'm gonna pay you.
With clouds around me, all heavy and gray.
Keep insisting I'm a cloud, huh?
What tomorrow may bring don't mean a thing.
Listen, 8-ball, I'm gonna keep that money.
Take your tomorrow and give me today.
Their whole style of life may change. That instead of being involved in productive activity, they claim that they feel better, and yet this feeling better is alongside of a business where they've withdrawn from life, they're disregarding their personal appearance, they don't really care about how they function in the rest of the world, and they're involved in a kind of a pseudo-philosophic concern with life and themselves, with a real absence of contact with other human beings. So it's this interesting business of a kind of withdrawal and the statement that this kind of life makes them feel much better and more insightful.
Delícia! Essa música é uma delícia. Que delícia! Dança, muchacho! Rebola esse cuerpo, dança, dança, baila, baila. Música. Essa música é uma delícia. A hora, che! Abra os ojos, open your eyes.
For me, when I think about the question, where are we? I immediately go to the place of that we stand in more than one world at once. Because we stand in a world of incredible hope and possibility and miracles happening every moment of every day. And we stand in another world of a desecration of the sacred happening every moment of every day. So for me, it's where we are is standing with one foot in both worlds.
We're making the choice, and that is a way that we explored, we tried to reconnect people with the big picture. The thing that's been lost is that, Earth is the source of all life. It's not a place where we just extract resources from. And so in order to bring that connection back and that awareness that we actually are a part of this web of life, then sometimes you need to have concrete examples, because we live in a society where everything's pre-packaged, presented to us, and it's consume, waste, and there's not a lot of give back, and there's not a lot of knowledge or awareness of where are these things coming from. And so as a part of this exhibit, you know, what we wanted to show people that things they use in their daily life actually impact things around the world. You know, whether you want to call it the butterfly effect or whatnot. But one very simple example is a cell phone. We pretty much all use them at this point around the world. And we were looking at how does that impact a species and a habitat on the other side of the planet. And it actually directly impacts the mountain gorilla. And there's only 600 mountain gorilla left in the wild on a reserve that's on the border of the Congo. And why does that impact them? Because the mineral coltan is mined there. And so far that's the only place in the world that this mineral is found that's in every single cell phone. So when you're sitting there talking on the phone, we're trying to generate awareness of I'm impacting mountain gorilla habitat on the other side of the world. And it's a reality. And what are we going to do about that? You know, you can take steps such as not upgrading to new cell phones all the time, recycling your cell phone. There's something like 500 million cell phones in landfills. And we just need to start generating awareness that our consumption as humans on Earth is impacting the planet as a whole.
I reflect back again to a time when I was in the trees. And it's a time that as soon as I go there, it brings tears, and I know that it will for the rest of my life. When I was listening to the chainsaws every day, and having to watch these ancient trees hit the ground every day, and not being able to go and amuse myself and shut down, and just bearing witness day in and day out, and feeling myself and every last shred of hope being strangled and killed. And then I would somehow find a way to take another breath and go another moment, and then something else would happen, and it was so hard for me to hold on to hope. And then the enraged logger cut a tree intentionally in the direction of activists and took a young man, David Gypsy Chain's life, 24 years old, and killed him. And that day is when I decided I didn't want to have hope anymore, because I thought, well, why should I care? That my passion for caring about nature is intrinsically woven with my passion and my love for people, that I didn't see them as separate. And I thought, well, why should I have more love and commitment for people in this planet than they have? And I just wanted to give up and go, I'm going to go, you know, climb some tree in an area where nobody will find me. You know? I'm just going to go somewhere that's not under threat, and I'm just going to go climb it, and I'm not going to tell anybody where I'm going. And I'm going to give up on caring. And the reason the tears come is because I'm still so present to that pain. And yet, that's the power of where hope came from for me, because in that moment of being so devastated, I was literally in the fetal position on my tiny little platform, 180 feet up in the air, rocking back and forth, crying and sobbing and going, I don't want to do this anymore. And the answer that came to me was, Julia, if you have hope in your heart, and even if you're the only person left who has hope in their heart, if that hope is committed in action, then there's hope in the world. If you're the only person left, as long as your hope is committed in action, then hope is alive in the world.
Fantasy about the future, and the future is sort of like it is today, but only not as bad. In other words, it doesn't do harm. Rather than people understanding that the construct that we have, the civilizational construct that we have, is the harm itself. You couldn't design something that is more harmful to both people in place. And so when we think about the future, we have to really accept I think the concept that nothing will be as it is today, except our hearts and our values and the things that have always made us humane. But in terms of the way society works, or the way economies work, or the way transportation works, or the way banking works, or the way cities work, or all those kind of things that we take for granted now, nothing would be remotely similar to what it is that we see today. This is not like a fix. This is not like if we can just get the carbon out of our gas pipes, you know, exhaust pipes, or if we can just get to organic farming, or we can just, you know, clean up our waterways and skies, or we can just make our cities greener, we can just, all those things are necessarily needed, but they themselves do not in any way describe the future that is coming. It's the death of what basically the white, you know, European, Indo-European civilizations have so successfully, you know, spread about the world is a dream, is a vision, is an idea, an ideal, if you will, and that is not maybe corrupt in its intention, but it's certainly corrupt in its application, and it's corrupt in its effect on both people and culture and place. And so therefore, you know, that is not something that you can amend or change or, you know, fix, and then therefore everything's going to be okay. We just had a little, you know, course correction here in the 21st century, and then we're going to keep going. That's not going to happen.
Listen, as someone who has respect for the world, has respect in the actions they take, understands the repercussions of the decisions they make, whether it's on what impact it may have on other species, habitats, regions, and people who make conscious decisions, and, you know, whether it's in their consumer decisions or in their daily actions. And it's also, you know, so that's one side of the thing. And the other thing, not just awareness and consciousness, but also, you know, what are they going to give back? Because many times we just take, but you need to reach a point where you say, I need to give back. You know, I need to help spread the message. You know, find ways you could spread the word, find organizations you could get involved with, volunteer your time. There's millions of organizations in the world that need help and support. They're the ones on the front lines creating the change. And I think we all have a responsibility to do something to give back.
They resonate with you, take on your illness, and then because they know how to heal themselves, that's right, they can get rid of it. They can handle your illness better than you can.
That's right. That's basically what they do. Don Salone, a very powerful shaman that I met in Peru, who was 7 years old, a maestro shaman, would heal in ways that were almost unfathomable to me. One way of healing, or just of getting my vibration to change, would be to make me get sicker. He would blow this very obnoxious tobacco smoke all over me, and then I would throw up or sweat or something. And as a result of that, I would be getting rid of whatever particular illness that was bothering me. And at the time, because I had traveled through many different time zones and had gone from the weather patterns that were, at that time I was living in New Mexico, to the jungle patterns, which are very hot and humid, whenever I go through a weather change, I suffer from chronic sinus headaches. So I was getting headaches a lot of the time, and he could heal those by just doing the ceremony with me. And he would heal them in a very bizarre way. In fact, I can't imagine any Western doctor doing this. But one of the ways they do it is they spit on you. And another thing they do is that they actually apply their lips to whatever, like for example, if I have a headache, he would apply his lips to my head and actually apply suction with his mouth and suck the headache away. And one time he did this, in fact the time I had a real splitting headache, it was gone and like that. I mean, he just sucked and gone. It was gone. It just vanished like real quickly.